Hey everybody, so we are here at the grave of John and Isabel Craig. They were killed by Indians the 22nd of October, 1756. This was during the French and Indian War. We're doing a quick cleanup here. They've been doing a bunch of work here, Sons of the American Revolution, with cleaning the veterans' graves. We're going to quick clean this one because this is a much newer stone. But it is starting to get that blacking from the mold that's getting into the stone. So we're going to just, basically what we're trying to do here is just refresh the stone, get that stuff off of it, get the lichen off of it, and start making it look pretty good again. But we're getting here towards evening, so we don't have a ton of time to do stuff, so this is going to be a relatively quick cleaning, but it's just getting this stone back to where it should be and just getting it cleaned up. But they are going to be coming back here. We'll have another video that you probably will have already seen that will have gone over all these veteran stones that they cleaned, a lot of work that they did. You know, let this sit for a little bit. This is the cleaner that I've been using so far, and it's been mighty productive. I'm getting to the end of it, so we will use the other stone cleaner that I have. And as I said before, I am going to be switching over to Endurance cleaner. I'll probably get some D2 as well and a smaller bottle just to see which one I like more, but I'm probably going with the Endurance because that is what Atlas Preservation does. And I know there are a lot of weird feelings right now between several different groups. I don't want to get involved with it because I don't know what's going on, but regardless, the main object here is to get things cleaned up, do it right, and all that, and then go from there. So we're going to use this little plastic thing, and that's to get the lichen off primarily. You just want to be careful. You want to lightly go across the surface because you don't want to be doing something that is damaging the stone at all. There's actually quite a bit more lichen on here than I realized, and I do apologize. The sound probably is not terribly great, and that would be because 81 is right nearby here, so when you have these big highways, you sort of got that constant noise. But like all the stones that I'm doing right now, I will come back and do some more work on them. You know, mainly just spraying D2 or Endurance on and then just leaving them and then let them do their magic over the next couple of months. You'll see some stuff that'll come up really quickly, but a lot of it just takes time. So it involves a lot of patience. And the most important thing is, like, when you do this, don't do damage to the stone, because that's the exact thing that you're trying to avoid, is to not do that kind of stuff. Even this lichen, some of it sometimes is really in there. You'll get the top layer. It's coming off of this one relatively quickly. Plus this is slightly newer stone, so alright, well, you're gonna get the work. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about it being perfect. That was sort of the way I started, is I got way more weird about it. This will clean over time, especially once I do the whole thing with D2. This is more than anything, it's just getting the stuff off of the surface. You don't have to go nutso. In fact, it's better that you don't. Because if you are going nutso on it, you're having a much more high likelihood that you're going to wind up damaging the stone, which is exactly what you don't want to do. An important thing, like I always say, you can never use too much water. You know, don't be afraid to use that, because that does protect the stone. The main thing is just getting the process started. Now I get to sit down again. Even though it's evening, it's still toasty. Tell you one thing, it's a nice little workout. Alright, let's take the water here and go over. So you can see in this area here, there's still some blackening, but the stone is much, much, much cleaner. Alright, so I will come back here to really hit this with the long-term stuff, and I just basically be a spray on and go from there. You get to see how much of a difference that makes. And that's just a couple minutes effort and just doing it right. The bottom that I didn't really hit that hard. That even looks better. is just, once again, the whole idea is to preserve history. You know, it's the idea of remembering those that have come before us and trying to give them honor as our predecessors and everything that they did. Everybody deserves that. For the most part, there's a couple people that have been overly naughty. I don't get that, but I think as well at this thing that they did, they were going to tell sort of the stories too about how they would bury their slaves and Indians that are buried in here. They would have had a lot of issues with the Man of the Gap, where the Native Americans would have came through. So they viewed that with trepidation, but they also still believed that you should give burials to, even though they were their enemies in war, they still wanted to give them a burial, but they would normally they would bury them one on top of each other, so it wasn't obvious how many had actually been buried there, had been killed, for fear of reprisal. That was just sort of how they had to do things back at that time. Little bit of time. It's a good workout program, I'll say that. You come out in this type of humidity and you get the job done. We will come back here though at a later time to check out what the progress actually is, because you don't really get a full feel for this thing until it goes fully dry, and we do not have a breeze, so you really can't see how good this is. You know, and I'll put before and afters, because that was something I forgot to do before. There we go. Put these in here, and then I'm going to show you guys around the stone. And we're gonna head home. Here you can see the stone on the after. See the side, top. You know, like I said, there's still some blacking, certainly on the bottoms and stuff like that, but I'm not quite sure if these two stone cleaners do the killing the bacteria or the organic material off over time or not, because they don't really say about it. It was what I could afford at the time, and I'm just sort of trying to use it up. But next week I'm gonna buy a bunch of D2 and Endurance and see what I like and what I get the best results with. But there's another one of these episodes of A Homage to History in memory of John and Isabel Craig, killed by Indians, 22nd of October, 1756. History is out there, my friends.